What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Sansom Sports Media Podcast. We're your hosts, Hunter and Michael, coming at you today. Gonna discuss some college football news that just broke about 10 minutes ago. And then also going to dive into a bunch of college basketball. I put my first bracket out for the year the other day, so we'll get into that. We'll discuss teams. I'm going to kind of dive into how everything's going, what teams are in a lot of trouble, what teams look really good, and kind of go from there. Other than that, though, Mike, how we doing? How's life treating you up in Chicago?
Frozen. Not quite,
Frozen?
but pretty cold up here.
It's a warm 42 degrees here in Cincinnati today.
How's the wind?
It's very windy. And we're supposed to get some snow tonight, so I'll take it. I'll take anything over being in Sherone Moore's place right now, even though he did it to himself. If you didn't hear the news, Sherone was fired today, December the 10th, around 4:30 or so. I think they had a Michigan team meeting about 3:30 this afternoon Eastern time. They fired him for cause with an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Not going to get into what that relationship is, but Mike, initial thoughts, what it goes through your head?
Since I didn't know that this was brewing when I first saw this, I thought it was like one of those like satire things that you see on X where it's like, oh, so and so has been fired, and then you look and say, oh, it's like April Fool's kind of thing.
Yeah.
When I saw it come through Athletic, then I knew it wasn't satire anymore.
Yeah. No, my initial, I saw it through On3 first, and I initially, I obviously On3's respected, and I'm not saying they're not, but there's a No3 account that's very similar, and I thought it was them at first.
Right.
So yeah, once I was able to confirm it, I was pretty shocked, but had been hearing some rumors for a little bit.
Tough couple of weeks. I mean, first they lose the game to Ohio State, and now all of a sudden, we were talking about this off air. When you're kind of going through a rough season, right? You're Michigan, you're 5-5. It's been going rough. You kind of know you're going to get rid of your coach.
Yeah.
You start kind of looking at your resources, contacting coaches. When it's like this,
you don't. I mean, you can't. I mean,
yeah.
I know that there's been some backdooring probably going on because they have known about this for a couple weeks. They did let the investigation at Michigan play out before making any decisions, but I know that they at least knew about it for a little bit, the allegations. But yeah, I mean, you're way behind the 8 ball. I mean, look at Kentucky is a really good example of somebody who they fired Mark Stoops and then the next day hired their coach. It moves quick, and being this far behind, your two notable names in the mid-major world are Chaney with JMU, who's going to UCLA, and then Summerall that's with Tulane, headed to Florida. So you're already way behind the 8 ball now with those two. I don't know where they turn. They'll hire a sitting Power 4 coach, let's be honest. It's Michigan. It's one of the 10, 15 best jobs in the country, but they may not get their first pick here.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I try to think of other mid-majors that did well this year. South Florida, UNLV.
Yeah.
Is their coach gonna suddenly go from there to going to Michigan and having great success?
Well, so
maybe
USF coach headed to Florida or
right?
Florida, Auburn.
Right.
I don't think that Michigan wants Dan Mullen. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. Right.
So no, I would imagine names that I've kind of heard thrown around, and this is all speculation. None of this is backed by source right now. I do know that Kalen DeBoer had reached out to Penn State at least a little bit. Lincoln Riley had reached out to Florida. So there's two names immediately that jump off the bat that would be interesting hires, to say the least. I don't know that Lincoln wants to give up USC to go to Michigan. That's a hell of a climate change. But, I mean, maybe DeBoer, especially if he would lose to Oklahoma in that first round, maybe he's looking for a new job. I know he's from Sioux Falls, North Dakota. Getting to Michigan, probably be pretty close to home, might be a benefit for him. I don't know. Again, speculation. But if they're going to hire a sitting coach, I feel like they're going to shoot for the stars, and that would be shooting for the stars.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a couple 2 to 3 tough kind of years now for Michigan. I mean, obviously they won the national championship, but you had all this stuff with the whole Spygate kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then, Harbaugh decides I don't want to deal with college sports anymore, so he leaves, right?
let's be very real. He left because he knew he was going to get show
Yeah,
caused, and he
that
got out in front
too.
of it. It
Yeah,
had nothing to do, and I have a
yeah.
feeling if he could come back right now, he would.
But beyond that, he's gone, right?
Yeah,
Last year, not a very good year. And this year, I know they finished 9-3. This is not a wonderful Michigan team that were they top 25, top 20? Sure.
yeah,
But as we talked about, top 20 in college football and top 20 in college basketball is not the same.
correct. Well, and
Um,
being Michigan, you're not shooting for top 20. You're shooting to
no.
be right there with Ohio
Yeah.
State. Yeah,
You're not shooting for barely getting by Northwestern at Wrigley Field, you
correct.
know? It was not what I found to be a very pretty 9-3 season.
Agreed.
So, and now this,
Yeah.
and now, what is it? The players on the team are going to have like a 15 to 20-day window to transfer.
Well, so you'll see players probably opting in and out of bowl games.
Yeah.
They can go ahead and declare that they're going to enter the portal, but I mean, with it being the off season, you'll have the January portal window. I have a feeling this team will probably, depending on how they go, it's going to be a heavy transfer out situation. You probably lose Underwood. You probably lose some of the other guys that you were kind of building the program around. So it's crucial that they get this hire right. The AD does not have a great track record with getting football hires right, but we'll see what happens. Just for speculation purposes, Jim Harbaugh cannot come back right now. He is still under his show cause. I think that expires in 26. I could be wrong. So maybe he could come back. I don't know that he wants to, but if you're going to get out in front of that, I just wanted to go ahead and say that.
And the other thing, they need to figure this out and figure this out quickly because just because you're a big brand name doesn't mean that you're always going to be great forever.
Correct.
Stanford, huge brand name.
Yeah.
Right? Not very good in basketball, not very good in football right now.
Yeah,
okay?
But I would use Michigan as more of a, you're talking about like a Kentucky or a UCLA in basketball.
Or,
I would put them in that kind of category where they're going to be a little bit, sorry, not to like kind of move off the Stanford, but they've always been kind of up and down.
Okay.
So
USC's always had a pretty good reputation in football.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a better year this year, but overall, not what they were, right? Correct. Competing for national championships and whatnot, not what they were.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take much. So they need to figure this out.
And I mean, you got to figure out quick. You're less than 30 days from the portal opening. There's only the 10-day window. You really have to get this done in the next 2 weeks and get it figured out. If you're waiting for one of the playoff coaches, you better have an agreement signed behind back doors that just needs to be officially broadcast once they lose.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're in trouble.
Yep.
With that, Michigan, we talk about being a national title type of hope every year in football. This year in basketball, though, I mean, last night they just absolutely blitzed Villanova. I don't think it's hyperbolic to say this, but like they're the best team I've seen this year by a very, very wide margin. Like Arizona's close, but Arizona's still 2 steps behind what Michigan's doing right now.
You could argue that Arizona has the better resume, but Michigan has the better team right now.
I would agree with that. My eye test tells me it's Michigan. My paper tells me it's Arizona. With that, my bracket is now up on the screen there. Kind of probably a little hard to read. Feel free to zoom in. It's also my pinned post on my Twitter, so you can find it there as well. With that, our 1 seeds, Arizona, again, as we talked about, the better resume. I have them at 1. I got Michigan 2nd overall. Those two are very much so 3 or 4 steps ahead of Duke and Iowa State, who are the last 2 1 seeds there. Other than that, what stands out to you? I know Memphis being down there as an 11 under the cut line, and as the AQ was surprising to me. St. John's.
Not really when they're still below 500, but yeah.
Okay. Surprising as preseason expectations go. I expected Memphis to be a 5 or a 6 seed.
That was a nice win over Baylor, though.
Yeah. Great progress, but you're still like 4-4 and got a long way to go. Any other kind of questions, comments, thoughts, anything stand out to you?
That top 5 is pretty clear.
Yes.
At this point. Purdue, Gonzaga, Michigan State, you could probably put that in about any order.
Yeah.
I would probably put Bama ahead of Vanderbilt at the moment because I think they have better wins. Vanderbilt certainly has the predictive metrics
Yeah.
above them.
I
But
will
I
say
think
with that, I just went straight vibes and wanted to get bolded Vanderbilt in there, so that's why they're like that. They were kind of close. Like you said, predictives are better for Vandy.
Houston at 11. I mean, from a resume, that's fine. But this, so far,
Yeah,
early, has not seemed like the championship contender that we thought
agreed.
so far. It's early, but
Yeah,
something hasn't felt right. There's been a lot of close games that I didn't expect.
agreed.
BYU makes sense. That was crazy game with Clemson yesterday.
Yeah,
Where
Rob Wright hit
Clemson
that buzzer beater. Go ahead.
Clemson is what, at
I had him as
9?
an eight,
Was that 8?
eight seed. Yeah, this was before
No,
the
this is
game last night as well.
we're talking about. I mean, Clemson could have easily been like a 4 or 5 if they had held on and
Oh
won
yeah,
that game. And
absolutely.
instead, here they are sitting at an 8 with
Yeah.
a couple decent wins and a couple of games that they wish they would like to have back now, but they don't.
The last week and a
And
half has probably cost them every bit of 4 seed lines, and
yeah,
probably will cost them probably 2 or 3 seeds in the tournament.
yep,
That loss to Bama and then the loss to
mm,
obviously BYU last night.
yeah. The 4 seeds make sense. Carolina, Kansas, Louisville, Illinois. Louisville's had a nice little bounce
Yeah,
back after
yeah.
losing.
I will say the 1 through 4 is a clear grouping. And then after 4, it started to get really murky really quickly. But I think that top 16 is pretty much like separating themselves for the moment. That'll change next week, but at least for me, it has.
When it comes to SEC resumes,
Mhm.
with like the Vanderbilt and the Alabama,
Yeah,
trying to figure out who is the second best. Because to me, right now, Alabama's the best team in the SEC,
agreed.
in my opinion.
Yeah,
It is tough to figure out right now who is second best. Maybe it is Vandy. Florida, I have to, even though they lost to
yeah.
UConn and Duke, I thought probably played their 2 best games of the season so far in those losses, even though they
I would
didn't play
agree.
great.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it doesn't have the same, 5-4 feel that Kentucky has.
yeah.
Um,
I think Florida probably is eye test wise the second best team, but they've been so inconsistent. It's hard.
yeah,
Arkansas is another team that I would have right there. I mean, I have them as a 5 seed. They're very talented as well.
Auburn, we don't have to like them, but unfortunately, NC State didn't do us any favors. So
Correct.
Auburn won that game, and
Yep.
Auburn is where they are. St. Mary's seems fine. It got to about SMU at 28, where I was like, where we want to expand the tournament.
Yes. I mean,
SMU has a couple of decent wins,
yeah.
not a bad loss, and nothing else, and that's the last 7 seed.
Yep. And obviously, this is very early, and lots of teams
Yeah.
have huge games left. We get that, but it is definitely not been a great year for a lot of these 10 and 11 seeds, especially. I mean, hell, I have Seton Hall in the bracket right now.
Baylor's in the bracket.
Yeah.
Baylor's in the bracket, and it really has done nothing. They just lost to Memphis. The predictors are going to go up a little bit after today since they crushed Norfolk State.
Yep.
But
still, it's Norfolk State. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah.
I expected a little more from Wisconsin.
I've been very disappointed, and not very disappointed, but relatively disappointed in Wisconsin. I had them as a top 20-ish team in the country preseason. See them as a 34, 35 in my rankings right now.
Miami is not in Dayton.
Correct.
And they are going to have a tough time because there's not much left on their non-conference schedule. And this is what happens when you have 30 teams in a conference.
Yeah.
You don't play everyone. They don't get any chance against Duke. Now you could say, well, that means their schedule is easier. Yeah, sure. But you don't get that opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think from what I saw, they only get 1 game against Carolina. They get 1 game against Clemson. They get 1 game against Louisville.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, and I don't think any of them are at home.
I know Miami.
Maybe one of them is at home.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think they do get 1 home game. But I think 3 of the 4 are on the road, and then they have the 1 at home. I mean, you can.
I was looking through their schedule. They may not play a tournament worthy team until like well into January from here on out.
Yeah. And you can make the argument that's a good thing, especially with a new coach. But also, at some point, you do have to go win the freaking basketball games, and you can't just beat bad teams and expect to jump into the tournament. Eventually, you will have to put some wins on there. So they're going to have to pick up one of these wins. They're going to be in a little bit of a pressure cooker when they get these teams.
Ohio State. That was a pretty rough. I mean, they really needed that game against Illinois yesterday.
Yeah.
I was looking at their schedule to this point, and I'm used to Ohio State playing a better non-conference schedule.
Yeah.
Not this year. Right now, I mean, and it will change somewhat, but at the moment, 7-2 Buckeyes with the loss to Pittsburgh, which right now is Q3.
Yep.
Their overall strength of schedule, their non-conference strength of schedule is 353.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad, obviously. Now, they are going to play West Virginia, North Carolina soon, and they have a game with Virginia in February. But in between, there's a game against Grambling, which isn't going to help their non-conference strength of schedule. My guess is even the 3 games that will help, it's still going to be a strength of schedule that's going to be below 275.
Yeah.
So
non-conference strength of schedule below 275. Yeah.
Okay. So, they obviously have to beat West Virginia. And they're going to have to find a way to win at least one of those games against Carolina and Virginia.
Completely agree.
And then
losing to Pitt, who has lost to Quinnipiac and Hofstra now.
Not good.
Not a good loss.
Not good. And they'll obviously have their chances in Big Ten play, but it isn't like, Rutgers, Oregon, Washington, Minnesota, Penn State doing a lot to help. So,
but the top of the Big Ten should be enough to get them where they need to go.
Yes. They'll get Purdue at home, Indiana at home. They get to play Iowa, Michigan State on the road.
Yep.
They play Michigan twice.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of chances.
The issue is how beatable are some of those teams.
Yeah.
I mean, Michigan, it's a rivalry, so throw everything out the window, but they're not beating them at the Chrysler Center. Will they beat them at home? I don't know, maybe, but I doubt they're going to go into Michigan and beat them twice. The way they're playing right now, I don't see Michigan losing. Ohio State's going to struggle. They're going to have to really do some damage in Big Ten play.
Or beat North Carolina.
And beat North Carolina. I mean, honestly, and beat one of North Carolina or Virginia more than likely.
But those are some of the things that stand out for now.
I wanted to call out Villanova. After their absolute pummeling by Michigan, probably wouldn't drop them much because, I mean, it's like we've talked about, Michigan is just playing that well, but probably would drop them down towards the bottom of the 10 line, maybe flip them with St. Louis or so, but nothing crazy that I'm going to drop them a ton for.
Nova just doesn't have much.
Correct. There's not. They've passed the eye test against bad teams, but they've played 2 good teams now. They lost to BYU opening night, and now this one, there's not a ton on the schedule, and the Big East is not going to do them any favors.
Nova, 0-2 in Q1, Q2, 0 games, Q3, 0 games, 7-0 in Q4.
That's really poor because you really want a lot more Q3 games. The Big East, and like I said a second ago, the Big East is very down this year. It's come back a little bit recently, but I mean, just the top end wins aren't there. UConn is probably going to run through the conference. St. John shouldn't struggle too much either, but it's Villanova's going to struggle.
They're lucky at the moment that the Sacred Hearts and LaSalle's aren't sub 300, or else the strength of schedule will be worse. But they may end up being by then. Who knows?
They'll probably end up being like that eventually.
But they're gonna. They really need. I love the Big Five rivalry.
You have to count those as bye games if you're Villanova, though, and they don't, and that kills their strength of schedule.
I hate the idea of ripping up these kind of like rivalries, but in this day and age, when it's not giving you much, it's kind of the New Mexico State rivalry, playing twice in the same season.
Oh, definitely don't play twice, but I do think that they should keep at least some form
Yeah,
of Big
I
Five.
know. I don't know.
Can't get rid of it.
I know you can, but when you got well, then schedule other better games after
Oh,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Like use those as bye games and then schedule
Queens,
a
Sacred
better game.
Heart,
Yeah.
Duquesne. Well, Duquesne, yeah, that's another Atlanta 10 team. But Wisconsin, I mean, that's a good schedule. Michigan, Pittsburgh, unfortunately, is hurting them.
That's a name. You schedule a good name. You can't help that they're not good.
Right.
So they're trying at least. I mean, some of the names they've got on there are solid, but the Big Five hurts you a little bit. So you do need to kind of compensate for that on the back end. Wanted
So
to kind of touch on Indiana. I did not put them in. They would now be in the bracket. Probably should have had them first four out to begin with. So that's my apologies. And then Missouri would fall out. There's not a ton on that resume. I had a hard time with that last
there's
spot.
nothing on it. They
There's
were
nothing with
when they
really
were
any of these
8-0, they had
resumes.
played the worst schedule in the country.
Correct. Yeah. And that's just what you're going to see kind of throughout, if I'm being honest. So unfortunately, Mizzou falls out. I do think that Dennis Gates can get them there. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle.
They got Illinois coming up.
Yeah. And I mean, they were relatively competitive with Kansas for the most part, but need to be probably competitive. Might even really need to push Illinois a little bit to help their metrics.
I would have put Indiana in instead of Nova.
That is fair. You could make the argument, and I mean, this is December 9th bracketology. We do recognize that it is more for fun and more for us to talk about the teams that are rising than it is for anything. But I mean, you could make the argument for Indiana or any of these teams to be in over the other based off of whatever you want to use. I mean, it's way too subjective. I don't like preseason brackets. I think that we really should hold off until middle of July or January to put them out. But here we
July,
are.
yeah.
With the net coming out last week, we got to get something out there. So here it is. It's not pretty, and it's not going to be what we end up with, but it's where we're at for now. I will say everything below Memphis and below, so 46 down to 68. It's just your KenPom conference champion. I rank them 1 through 30 or whatever, or 26, and then just put them in there like that. So there is no subjective measurements. I use the conference AQ based off of KenPom.
So Kerry Miller on Excellent and I were kind of discussing earlier today about the Big East and where where they are as like this. I mean, UConn's got 4 top like Q1A wins.
Yep.
Right. The rest of the league in the top 2 quadrants is like 6 and 26.
Yeah.
And the only other team besides UConn that has a Q1A win in the league is Butler's win over Virginia.
Yep.
The other ones that you look at, like the Seton Halls has a Q1 win and a Q2 win.
Yeah.
There's a couple like I don't know if it's Nova, whoever that doesn't even have a Q2A win. You know,
yeah.
It's pretty rough when you look at some of the better resumes in the Big
Agreed.
East, and
Yeah.
you don't see, Creighton is not what we're used to seeing.
Creighton is
Marquette,
awful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Marquette has looked terrible.
They're also yeah.
St. John's looks solid. After that,
I mean, if Seton Hall keeps this level of play up, they're pretty good.
Sure.
If Villanova can play like they've shown at times, they're probably pretty good and fighting along the bubble. Butler absolutely has the resume right now. I do not have them in because they lost to Boise right before I made this. I left them just on the outside looking in. Their metrics weren't the best. But that being said, Butler's probably your next best choice. Georgetown has struggled. Xavier has a Q3 loss already. That might end up being Q2, but St. Clara has kind of dwindled a little bit. Other than that, DePaul doesn't look great. Unfortunately, the Big East is just down, and I don't know that it gets better before conference play, and I don't know that maybe you're going to be able to pop up your metrics enough to get in, but you're going to have to be a Butler, a Villanova, or somebody like that to do it, unless you're going to win 16 games in conference play.
We're talking about, UConn trying to get a 1 seed, and they're going to probably have to have a 17-3 conference record, if not better, to get that.
The thing is,
and
that's
look at
not
what they've done
at all.
I know.
I mean,
yeah.
if they get to 16 wins in Big East play, they're probably a 1 seed.
And if they get better, if they finish like 18-2, you're gonna have very few teams from the Big East making it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the thing. Who do they give key wins to? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying they're going to give anybody a win, because they're obviously
Right.
not. But like, if you're a Big East fan, you're desperately hoping that Butler, Seton Hall, or Villanova can take down Nova or UConn at one point, because that's
Yeah.
a resume building win that gets you into the tournament of itself.
And right now, them and St. John's are probably the only games you're getting at home that are going to be Q1.
Oh, absolutely.
And if St. John's stays in the top 30, we'll see. I think eventually they will. I don't know,
I think
though.
they'll be all right. I think you're going to see a couple, and I don't know who the third team will be, but somebody's going to have to do really well in the conference more than likely. I know it could just turn into an all-out dogfight where they just cannibalize themselves, but normally a third team kind of steps up. Whoever that third team is should have a good spot to get some of these extra metric boosts and things like that. What are your thoughts on the ACC?
Better than last year.
Agreed.
How much better, I'm not sure yet. Duke looks like a national championship contender. Louisville looks pretty good for the most part. It gets murky after that. North Carolina looks pretty good too. So that would be a third one to mention. Clemson for a half in the last two games they played against good teams looks like another one, but there's 40 minutes in the game, not 20.
They have not been able to consistently do anything.
Virginia,
Virginia's solid.
They're pretty solid, yeah.
They're like a solid 7 to 10 type of team. They're not going to be crazy good, I don't think, but they're going to probably get into the tournament based off of that.
We talked about how it's going to be tough for Miami to get there.
Yeah.
Given what we discussed with what they're going to have left. NC State, who looked like a pretty solid team coming in, has nothing on their resume.
Yeah.
They are 6-3. Their resume-based metrics are all in the 60s.
Yep.
Their predictors are in the 30s, which is fine, but
they have to play more like the 30s, though, or they're going to fall out. I mean, that's an obvious statement, but
they lost to Auburn. They lost to Seton Hall. Their best win is Boise State. Yeah. Their next best win is VCU. They lost to Texas, who isn't that good anyway.
Correct.
And there's not much here. They played a decent schedule. That's fine. They're playing Liberty tonight, which is not an easy game, but they better win it.
It's a pretty solid game. Yeah, you can't lose it, but it's a solid matchup.
They're going to get Kansas at home. Yep. You're not going to get a lot of. I mean, the ACC is better. Don't confuse that for the grade all of a sudden.
Yeah.
If
they get to 6 bids, it's a good year, and they're on track to definitely do that right now, especially with how down the Big East is. But that's a good baseline to kind of hope for right now. If you're
the neutral court game against Ole Miss right now isn't even a Q2 game.
Correct.
Because Ole Miss is not.
They might be the most disappointing team in the country.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to another one in a second when we get to the SEC. But I think the ACC is better, but I just don't know. Syracuse is 75th in the net. I'm not sure they're going to stay that high.
I have different opinions.
I don't know.
Syracuse. I think they're good. I think they're pretty good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did the Tennessee win.
Exactly. I don't think Autry can coach, but I think they're a good team. Despite his coaching.
Okay. I can get
terrible,
that.
But that's where I'm
at. Notre Dame, are they going to stay top 70, top 70? No.
No.
Stanford is not, I mean, that's not good anyway, but 115,
they'll keep falling.
I just don't, they get Duke at home later on. They may have to win that game. I don't know if they're going to have to or not, but they're going to have to beat Carolina or Duke at home. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They get them both. They have to at least take advantage of one of those.
Agreed.
Virginia, they should be able to beat at home if they're a tournament team.
Yeah.
We'll see. 50-50 at best.
Yeah.
Syracuse, they may have a shot. That Tennessee win is huge.
It's just it should age really well. Speaking of Tennessee, they've been a little bit disappointing. Kind of that whole SEC has. It was hard not to win. But like Mississippi State's been so poor. teams like Tennessee and Auburn haven't played up to their expectations, and then you get to Kentucky, and
You could
what do we
actually
do?
argue that Auburn's been a little better than expectations given what they went through.
Okay, if you expectations pre-Bruce leaving, yes, they've disappointed. Expectations once Steven got hired, they've been about where I expected them, so that's fair.
A&M at times has looked really bad.
Yeah.
And then let's get to Kentucky. 6-4 after winning another meaningless game.
Yep.
Still, okay, so now they actually have a win over a top 220 net team, and it's Tennessee Tech at 189.
Yeah. I mean, Tennessee Tech's pretty solid for a mid-major. Like, if NKU was playing them, sure, good game. Kentucky, nah. Injuries have killed Kentucky. I don't think that getting JQ back will fix everything for them, though. And I know a lot of people keep thinking that. I think this roster is just not constructed to win.
Result-based metric, KPI 154. We can throw out KPI, that's fine.
Please do.
Strength of record 106. Wins above bubble 73. Looks a little better, but
still not great. Yeah.
No. Average net win 283.
Kentucky has played a solid schedule. Don't get me wrong. But they have not beaten anybody that they've played that's got a pulse. They've just beaten up on the bad teams. The SEC is obviously going to provide a lot of Q1 opportunities. Kentucky still has more big games coming, but they have to start winning at some point.
This is not the Kentucky-Indiana game that we were expecting before the season.
I expected this to be one of the biggest games of the year, and it's
now the loser. I'm not saying they're going to miss the tournament, but it certainly won't make their prospects all that certain.
Agreed. The loser's gonna have a much tougher road. The winner will get probably what ends up being a Q1 win when that happens.
Kentucky gets St. John's after that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Pretty solid. I mean, again, their schedule is not the issue. The issue is they have not beaten anybody on that schedule.
Right. And I like to look at some of these teams' home games and see what they have, because those are the ones you expect them to kind of win.
Yeah.
Missouri, Mississippi State, not going to be a huge help. Texas, Ole Miss, same thing.
Yeah.
LSU, I expect them to drop like a rocket. or like a meteor maybe is a better.
I have LSU 6 team out, and I would completely agree that I expect them to just fall off a cliff right now.
Oklahoma doesn't really help much. Tennessee may by the time you get there. Yeah. Georgia, I don't know. Vandy, Florida, there's a couple teams but they may have to win some road games.
Yeah. Definitely.
This is not like last year where you're playing a Q1 game almost anywhere you play. It's not the same.
Agreed. Well, and then, we talked about LSU a little bit. Look at Texas. A very disappointing. I know it's weird to call Texas an SEC team, but here we are. Extremely disappointing year for Texas to start the year.
And another reason not to expand the tournament.
Yes.
You let a team like Texas in last year, and it gives a team the false thinking of, well, our coach helped get us to the tournament. We should keep him when we probably shouldn't. And now
Texas fired their coach last year, though.
That's true, but I'm just saying in general. Yeah. That's true. So maybe with a new coach, it's a little different. I don't know.
Sean Miller was not brought in to have a rebuilding season.
That's true,
I will
too.
promise you that. Texas has been rough this year. Same thing with Oklahoma. Oklahoma's been up and down, but more down than up, I would argue. With that, what about the Big 12? I think Big 12 is probably the second best team in the country. I would put conference. I'd put the Big 10 above them. But if you're comparing the tops of conferences, I think the Big 12 is better. The Big 10 is just a little bit deeper.
That's fair. It's just the bottom of the Big 12 is what drags you down.
So bad. And now we're not just talking about like the Colorados or the Utahs. Like Cincinnati has looked awful. Kansas State starting to look bad. you're starting to see these cracks in these 7 and 8 place teams in the conference right now that just don't look good.
No. West Virginia felt like a nice story, and now they're 8-3.
Yep.
Without a Q1 win.
Correct.
Baylor. This is not the Baylor team of 2 and 3, 4 years ago. I mean, they're better maybe than last year. Maybe not better than last year. I don't know, but
I think they're better than last year, but I don't think it's much better. And I'm starting to have genuine concerns about where Scott Drew is taking things
me
right now,
too.
because he's
Me
just
too.
not doing what I expect out of him.
Yeah, I expected them to beat Washington by more than they did, and they didn't.
Agreed.
You almost never know what you're getting from Arizona State.
Yeah. You can't trust Bobby Hurley. I promise you that.
So I like Iowa State. I like Arizona. I like BYU for the most part. Houston has not been as good as I thought they would, but they're still pretty solid.
Yeah.
Kansas
is healthy, so let's see what they do now that they're healthy again.
I like
kind of my
Tech.
stance. I like Tech. I don't think Tech is a 1 or a 2 seed. Sorry, Matt, but I do think they're a 4 or 5 type of seed.
I don't know what I like after that, though.
I don't know that you can like. I mean, do you like Oklahoma State? Do you trust Oklahoma State? I don't trust them. I like what I've seen, but I don't trust what they are.
They're
Same thing with
9-0
UCF.
without a Q1 win.
Correct. And I think you could argue the same thing with UCF. It's not that I don't like them; it's that I don't trust them to keep it up.
So those two teams are combined 17-1 with 0 Q1 wins.
Correct.
I don't know.
We'll find out soon. I mean, their schedules do ramp up soon, but at least for now, I'm kind of concerned about them. And wrapping it up,
you've got three. Yeah, you've got 3 Big 12 teams beyond the top 100 of the net.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Kansas State is going to stay above that, once they get into conference play either.
Yeah.
So, there'll be some opportunities from some quality wins, but there's also going to be some stretches where you're playing those kind of like 75 to 100 net teams that aren't really helping you much.
Yep. No, I think there's a good chance that we see 6 top 4 seeds out of the Big 12. And then maybe no other tournament teams after that.
Like, there's no Boston College level bad team in this conference.
Correct. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're playing a bunch of good teams either.
The volume of bad teams in this conference is not bad. The volume of non-tournament teams in this conference is not what you want to see out of a power conference program. It's better than the Big East. It's better than the ACC. I mean, hell, it's better than the SEC this year, but it's not what you want when you're a Big 12 conference whose strength is supposed to be basketball.
This is the problem when you kind of consolidate all these conferences.
Yep. We talked about it when they added Colorado and Utah and all of them. That this is.
We were like, what?
What benefit does it bring? And I get it brought football benefits.
It brought Arizona.
It brought Arizona in basketball, BYU in basketball as well. But then outside of that, it didn't help in basketball.
No. Yeah.
And this is outside of the UCF and Cincinnati restructure. This is the most recent wave with Colorado and the Pac-12 teams and stuff.
Right.
With that, let's talk about another massive conference. Big Ten. I think it's a good conference. I don't know that there's a great team out. I mean, Purdue and Michigan State are great. I don't know that I'm picking them to win the national title right now. I am absolutely picking Michigan as my heavy favorite, but I'm starting to have some concerns about some other teams.
I like Michigan, Purdue, Michigan State, and Illinois. Those 4 I like. Those could all make Final Fours.
Agreed. Final Fours, yes.
I don't know after that. Iowa's solid. I need to see more.
Agreed.
What
about Nebraska? Nation's longest win streak.
Yeah, I know. So I hear. Decent wins. Nothing great. It looks the same as Oklahoma State's resume.
Yeah. And I mean, Creighton being bad just sucks for them because they don't get that opportunity.
Creighton, 106 in the net.
Yep. About USC, they've been a very positive surprise for me this year.
Yeah, almost lost to Troy though, and they struggled for a while with San Diego. Lost to Washington at home.
They did play at San Diego. I want to call that out.
I know.
It's not excusing it, but I do want to call that out.
I know.
but they've been better than their counterparts UCLA, who have disappointed me this year.
Yeah, 2-0
I
in the Big
expected them
Ten,
to be
but
better. Yeah.
yeah.
Outside of those
They,
2 games, I expected them to be better.
their best game was probably the game they lost close to Arizona.
Correct.
Not
They
really
get
what you want
Gonzaga
to.
this weekend, though.
Yeah, that
So
may not be good, but
that's not always
um,
a good thing, but it's a thing.
yeah. Barely beat Cal, lost to Cal, barely beat Washington. Oregon, and I did not see that it being this bad.
Yeah, agreed.
Rutgers, I'm not surprised they're this bad.
Same with Maryland. Yeah,
yeah, Maryland, not so
same
much.
same with
So
Penn State.
yeah, we've gone from the Big Ten looks almost as good as last year's SEC to, eh,
It's the Big Ten. It's the same thing every
yeah,
year. The question is, this year, I feel like there are genuinely 4 teams that can make that Final Four and that national championship drought go away. I mean, Michigan, the way they're playing right now, there's no doubting that they could win a national title with this level of play. Can they keep it
right.
up? I don't know, but you've got national title contenders.
I agree. Um, so I suspect UCLA will find a way to make it.
Oh, I agreed. Yeah.
5. I think Indiana's good enough. 6. Iowa 7. USC might get there for
Yeah.
8. I
For
think
8. Yep.
Nebraska
Uh,
certainly has a good chance. 9.
and then you got Wisconsin. There's 10.
That might be it. Maybe another one.
I'm looking down. I mean, Washington's right on the edge, but not in. I mean, yeah, that's fair. Ohio State, maybe. Again, we've talked about them already, but maybe you have an Ohio State make a run and get a couple big wins or something.
Yeah,
But I do think that they are the conference that gets double digit bids. I don't know that the SEC gets there this year,
doesn't look like it.
unless something changes.
Yeah, unless LSU and Missouri suddenly prove that they are what they were. That I don't know.
Agreed. All right. Last question as we kind of wrap up. I know we're sitting at 40 minutes trying to keep these closer to half an hour for you guys. I do want to say just before we stop, thank you guys so much. Our last episode finally did get over 100 views. That was our first. I say finally. We've been doing this for a couple years. The YouTube platform seems to be very positive. Everybody seems to really like the content, so we are keeping this, of course, going. We got over 150 views on the last episode. We're going to continue pumping these out probably once a week, maybe twice a week, especially as we get into conference play. But just wanted to give a huge shout out. And Mike wanted to ask, Arizona and Michigan are the field to win the national championship right now.
At the moment, I would take the field.
Okay. I'm taking Arizona or Michigan.
Because
I don't
that
think
field
anybody beats them.
includes Duke and UConn and some other
Iowa
good
State
teams.
and everybody. Yeah, I mean, that's the smart choice. I just feel like Arizona and Michigan have been on that kind of crazy trajectory right now.
One thing I want to say about Arizona so far. In previous years, they've been known to play down to their competition.
Yes.
So far this year, they have not
taken
been
care of
doing that.
Agreed.
So, we'll see if that continues. But so far, this feels like a different Arizona team.
It definitely does. Yeah. And they've got, if not the best resume I've ever seen through a month, it's one of the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I can't think of a resume I've ever seen that's better than this. So,
I mean, they have the UConn win.
Yeah.
They have, was it the Florida win?
Yep.
Right? They beat Auburn not long ago, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I would argue it's the best resume we've seen in a long time, if not ever. But with that, we'll wrap up, guys. We'll be back either probably this weekend if we can make some time work. Huge slate of games. Make sure you go to nkybbracketology.com. The preview is there for that. Other than that, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. We would love to just continue to grow our subscriber base. Make sure we can continue pumping out content for you guys. So thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, everyone.